Okay, so here we are back again with, just a few technical glitches, which, happens. So here on the slideshow, on the board, we have the three Purusha features that Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purports. So the first is Karnadakshayi Vishnu. I need to zoom in a little bit so I can see this. So the universes come from his pores. He's also known as Mahavishnu, and he lies on the causal ocean named Karana. I'm not going to repeat that. Bhaktiville is saying things in chat. Okay, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu enters into each of those universes that are coming out of the pores, and he's lying on half the universe that's filled with the water, and that is the source of, he is the source of incarnations. And from his lotus stem, from the lotus stem comes from his navel, and Brahma is born in that lotus. So Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are incarnations of this Vishnu. And then there's Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, and he is a plenary portion of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So he's a part of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. And he is Paramatma, the one in everyone's heart, the heart of everything. And all emanations and incarnations come from Kshirodakshayi. The Leela incarnations come from him. The Guna incarnations come from him. The Manus or Manvantaras come from him. Yuga avatars and Satyavesha avatars. Spell that right? Satyavesh avatars. Directly or indirectly empowered also come from him. And Bhaktiville says, does Krishna take that same path? I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Are you asking, is Krishna one of the avatars of Kshirodakshayi Vishnu? No. Krishna comes his very own self and brings all of his friends and buds with him. That's not how Prabhupada said it. He said, Krishna brings all of his associates and paraphernalia. Is how Srila Prabhupada explains it. All right, so there we have the three Purusha features, and 1 through 6, the different kinds of Vishnus. So we are, First Canto, Chapter 3, Text 13 is where we are reading from tonight, where we're starting from. Text 13, and we'll do call and response. And let me ask, Kandita, do you want to chant the verse also, or because the sound is being a little touchy, do we want to skip that? Okay. All right, we'll skip that for tonight because sound is being a little touchy. But you can sing along with us at home with your mics off. That would be awesome. Dr. Mimula says, let's practice that sometime. Yes, absolutely. All right, so we'll do call and response. Ashtame Meru Devyam Tu. Ashtame Meru Devyam Tu. Nabhir Jata Urukramaha. Nabhir Jata Urukramaha. Darshayan Vartma Dhiranam. Darshayan Vartma Dhiranam. Sarvashrama Namaskritam. Sarvashrama Namaskritam. All right. Let's sing it all the way through once. Ashtame Meru Devyam Tu. Nabhirjata Ukramaha Darshayan Vartmadiranam Sarvashrama Namaskritam. Sorry about that. And word for word. Ashtame, the eighth of the incarnations. Meru Devyam, two, in the womb of Meru Devi, the wife of Nabahe, King Nabi. Jataha took birth, Urukramaha, the all-powerful Lord. Darshayan, by showing. Vartma, the way. Dhiranam, of the perfect beings. Sarva, all. Ashrama, orders of life. Namaskritam, honored by. Translation. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabdev. Oh, Rishab. Sorry, I know someone, Rishabdev. So Rishab, son of King Nabi and his wife Merudevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. Purport. The society of human beings is naturally divided into 8 by orders of and statuses of life, the 4 divisions of occupation and the 4 divisions of cultural advancement. So he's talking here about the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Shudras. The intelligent class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the laborer class are the 4 divisions of occupation. So I just gave the Sanskrit names for all that. And the student life, the householder's life, retired life, and renounced life are the 4 statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of spiritual realization. We know those as brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. And so out of these, the renounced order of life, or the order of sannyasa, is considered the highest of all, and a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master for all the orders and divisions. In the sannyasa order, there are also 4 stages of upliftment toward perfection. Such stages are called the Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Paribrajakacharya, and the Paramahamsa. So I had never heard Kutichaka before, so I looked all of that. So a Kutichaka is one who lives in a small hut, and Bahudaka begs for food from many different places. And we should be familiar with Paribrajakacharya. We often talk about Srila Prabhupada, Jayam Vishnu Paramahamsa, Parabrajakacharya Ashvata. So those 2 words, Paramahamsa and Parabrajakacharya, are in there. So Parabrajakacharya is someone who travels to teach others, and a Paramahamsa is focused on deep spiritual practice. So some of those words are familiar, but I'd never heard Utichaka and Bahudaka. All right. Paramahamsa stage of life is the highest stage of perfection. This order of life is respected by all others. Maharaj Rishabh, the son of King Nabi and Maradevi, was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. So tapasya is usually translated as austerities. Every living being is searching after happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness. But such foolish men forget that temporary so-called happiness derived from sense pleasures is also enjoyed by the dogs and hogs. And Prabhupada would have said it like this, by the dogs and hogs. No animal, bird, or beast is bereft of this sense pleasure. In every species of life, including the human form of life, such happiness is immensely obtainable. Dr. Mimulus is laughing in chat, because yes, Prabhupada would have said it like that. The human form of life is, however, not meant for such cheap happiness. The human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. This spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya, or undergoing voluntarily the path of penance and abstinence from material pleasures. Those who have trained for abstinence and material pleasures are called dhira, or men or women undisturbed by the senses. These dhiras can accept the orders of sannyas, and they can gradually rise up to the status of Paramahamsa, which is adored by all members of the society. So women don't generally take sannyas, although I know of some who are. Usually the highest order for a woman is grandma, the grandma stage. No, I'm kidding. I'll be serious. King Rishabdev propagated this mission, and at the last stage, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage, not to be imitated by foolish men, but to be worshipped by all. Text 14. Call and response. Rishibir yachito bheje. Rishibir yachito bheje. Navamam partivam vapuhu. Navamam partivam vapuhu. Dugdhemam oshadhir vipras. Dugdhemam oshadir vipras. Tinayam sa utsatamaha. Tinayam sa ushatamaha. All right, and then all together, the whole thing. Shibir yakchito peje. Navamam partivam vapuhu. Dugdemam oshadir vipras. Enayam sa. And word for word. Rishibihi, by the sages. Yachitaha, being prayed for. Peje, accepted. Navamam, the ninth one. Partivam, the ruler of the earth. Vapuhu, body. Dugda, milking. Imam, all these. Oshadihi, products of the earth. Vipraha, O Brahmanas. Hena, by. Ayam, this. Saha, he. Ushatamaha, beautifully attractive. Translation. O Brahmanas, the ninth incarnation of the Lord, prayed for by sages, was King Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. Purport. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was great havoc of maladministration due to the vicious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu. And I have a note here. So this is from Srila Prabhupada. King Vena was not considered to be a good king and was reviled because he had forcefully stopped all sacrifices on the earth. He stopped the priests from praying and offering any oblations to Lord Vishnu, as he felt that there wasn't any need to pray to him, as he, a mere mortal at that, was superior to Vishnu. So at that time, when the priests weren't making oblations and praying, then agriculture fails. So there was not a lot of produces, Prabhupada says, yield various produces. All right, let me continue reading. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages and the brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but they also dethroned the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. Excuse me. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. Interesting note about Maharaj Prithu. So, and this is also, Prabhupada has written this in a different part of the Bhagavatam. The Vishnu Purana describes that King Prithu was born from the right arm of his deceased father, King Vena. After sages kneaded bread, kneaded Vena's body, especially churning it to create a successor, as Vena had no other children. So that's how King Prithu was born. So definitely an incarnation to come to be born that way, right? All right, back to our purport. Real intelligent men or qualified brahmanas never aspire for political posts. Maharaj Prithu excavated many produces from the earth, and thus not only the citizens became happy to have such a good king, but the complete sight of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. Text 15, and we'll do call and response. Rupam sajagre matsyam Rupam sajagrehe matsyam chakshushodati samplave chakshushodati samplave navyaropya mahimayam apad vaivasvatam manum apad vaivasvatam manum. All right, let's do it all together. Rupam sajagre matsyam chakshushodati samplave navyaropya mahimayam apadvaivasvatam manum. Word for word. Rupam, form, saha, he, jagre, accepted, matsyam, of fish, chakshusha, udati, water, samplave, inundation, navi, on the boat, aropya, keeping on, mahi, the earth, mayam, drowned in, apat, protected, vaivasvatam, vaivasvata, Manu, the father of men. Translation. When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on a boat. So when I read this, I thought, we've read this before. And so I did a search trying to find the fish and the boat, and I couldn't find it. It was making me crazy. And so I went back through all the verses and then started looking at my notes that I have attached to the sheet, and I found the full story of Satyavrata, who is our Vaivasvata Manu. So, and I'm sure you remember the story. So the king goes to the water, and there's a fish that needs protection, and the king protects the fish and puts it in a jar, and then the fish gets big and too big for the jar, and so he puts it in a pot, and then it gets too big for the pot, and the fish gets getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so he puts the fish in the water in the lake and realizes, oh, this must be an incarnation of Krishna, and worships Krishna. And so then soon after, the fish comes to Satyavrata. It's a continuing saga, goes to Satyavrata and says there will be an inundation of water. And you need to gather up all the sages and the people. He says the rishis, herbs, seeds, and other living entities in a boat. And the boat is attached to the horn of the fish. So let me just read this. So after saying this, the Lord disappears, and Satyavrata offers respectful obeisances to him. And in due course of time, this annihilation comes, and the boat comes near, and Satyavrata gets on there with his brahmanas and other saintly people, and so that's very similar to the story of Noah, but ours has a fish, and there's a rope attached to the horn of the fish, which is then attached to the boat. So the fish, Matsya, is pulling the boat and protecting them during this inundation. And let me read the purport, and then I'll say something else. So according to Sripad Sridhar Swami, the original commentator on the Bhagavad. So this Sripad Sridhar Swami is a contemporary of Lord Chaitanya. So just usually when Prabhupada mentions Srila Sridhar, that's the one he's referring. So Sripad Sridhar Swami says, there is not always a devastation after the change of every Manu. And yet this inundation after the period of Chakshusha Manu took place in order to show some wonders to Satyavrata. But Sri Jiva Goswami has given definite proofs from authoritative scriptures like Vishnu Dharmotara, Markandeya Purana, Harivamsha, etc., that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and he, Sri Chakravarti, has also quoted from Bhagavatamrita about this inundation after each Manu. So apart from this, the Lord, in order to show special favor to Satyavrata, devotee of the Lord, in this particular period, incarnated himself. So this is the end of one period of time, and then again another beginning of a new yuga. But I like the image of this fish. I like the image of the fish with the rope going to the boat, pulling them around. Okay, back to Mimila says, so always a flood, but not always an incarnation. Yes, exactly. Always some sort of way to dissolve the material plane, and then they start it up again, all clean and fresh. All right, let's do this one verse, and then I think I don't know, maybe we'll do two. We'll see. All right, call and response. Surasuranam udadim. Surasuranam udadim. Matnatam mandarachalam. Matnatam mandarachalam. Tadre kamata rupena. Tadre kamata rupena. Prishta ekadashe vibhuhu. Prishta ekadashe vibhuhu. And we'll do it all together. Shura suranam udadim matnam dadre kamatarupena Prishta ekadashe vibhuhu word for word. Sura, the theist, Asuranam, of the atheists, Udadim, in the ocean, Matnatam, churning, Mandarachalam, the Mandarachalam hill, Tadre, sustain, Kamata, tortoise, Rupena, in the form of, Rishte, shell, Ekadashe, 11th in the line, Vibhuhu, the great. Translation. The 11th incarnation of the Lord was in the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachalam hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe. Report. Once, both the atheist and the theist were engaged in producing nectar from the sea, so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. This nectar of immortality. At that time, the Mandarachalam hill was used as the churning rod, and the shell of the tortoise, incarnation of Godhead, became the resting place, the pivot of the hill in the seawater. I think we have time for one more. Text 17. Call and response. Danvantaram Dvadashamam Danvantaram Dvadashamam Trayodashamam Evacha Trayodashamam Evacha Apayayat Suran Anyan Payayat Suran Anyan Mohinya Mohayan Striya Mohinya Mohayan Striya. The whole verse together. Danvantaram Dva Dashamam Trayo Dashamam Evacha Apayat Suran Anyan Mohinya Mohayan Sriya. Word for word. Danvantaram, the incarnation of Godhead called Danvantari. Vadashamam, the 12th in the line. Trayodashamam, the 13th in line. Eva, certainly. Cha, and. Apayayat, gave to drink. Suran, the demigods. Anyan, others. Mohinya, by charming beauty. Mohayan, alluring. Striya, in the form of a woman. Translation. In the 12th incarnation of the Lord, or in the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Danvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. So we'll stop there. That seems like enough. Oh, the next one's really short. Shall we do just one more? Dr. Mimia says yes. Both say yes. Okay. Call and response. Chaturdasham Narasimham Chaturdasham Narasimham Viprad Daityendram Urjitam Viprad Daityendram Urjitam Dadara Karajair Urav Dadara Karajair Urav, sorry. Erakam Kattakrid Yata Erakam Kattakrid Yata. All right, all together. Chaturdasham Narasimham Vibrabdatyendram Urjitam Tadara Karajair Urav Erakam Kattakridyata. Word for word. Chaturdasham, the 14th in the line. Narasimham, the incarnation of the Lord as half man and half lion. Viprat advented Daityenram, the king of the atheists, Orjitam, strongly built, Dadara, bifurcated, Rajai, by the nails, Urai, on the lap, Erakam, canes, Katakrit, carpenter, Yata, just like. Translation. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Nrsimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. And there we have it. So, again, I just want to reiterate that these stories are like nested dolls, right? So we're just opening we're opening up the first set of dolls, and we're hearing about all the different incarnations. And as we keep reading, we'll hear the full stories of all the different incarnations. And we can chime in and add more details because there are always more details. All right, all the mics are on. Any comments or?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, well, I just am so fascinated by reading this again. I haven't read this for a really long time, so I'm glad that we decided to do this. It is fun. Someone said to me a couple weeks ago that the reason Prabhupada gave so much information in the first three cantos is because it's so incredibly important to know. He said,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
All right, so this is our last